Hi students, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about the architecture, or we can say that the block diagram of 8051 microcontroller. So we know that the 8051 microcontroller is one of the most popular general purpose microcontroller, and it is an 8-bit microcontroller and available in 40 pins dual in package IC. So it was introduced by the Intel in the year 1981. So let us start with our topic. This is the block diagram 8051. So it consists of various components. In this, we are going to discuss the functionality of each and every components. So if you see this block diagram, so totally 9 blocks are there. So for any microprocessor or microcontroller, the CPU, that is central processing unit, is the heart of any controller or processor. So in this, the CPU is connected with the oscillator. Here we are using crystal oscillator. We have oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. It is connected in the oscillator. Normally the frequency range is 12 megahertz. So with respect to frequency, the entire circuit will function. So we all know that any microcontroller or processor, first thing we need to provide the clock frequency. So once you provide that clock frequency, so with respect to clock, the CPU will function. So we know the CPU having ALU, that is arithmetic and logic unit. So that will be executing the instruction. So with respect to clock, the instruction will go inside and execute one by one. So it consists of ALU and other some registers, that is called flag registers. So the CPU is connected with one more block, that is interrupt controller. So in this 8051 have totally 5 interrupt controllers, 2 external interrupt and 3 internal interrupt. The external interrupts are INT0 and INT1. These two are external interrupt, and other 3 are software generated interrupts. That is, 2 interrupt is used for timer and 1 interrupt is used by this serial port block. Here we have timer 1 and timer 0. We have 2 timer. So whenever the timer overflow is happening, at a time it gives the interrupt. So that is the purpose. Here we are using interrupt, and one more internal interrupt is related to serial port. That is, here the serial port is connected with again the CPU. So totally 5 interrupts are there, 2 for external and 3 internal interrupt. Out of 3 internal interrupts, 2 is for timer and 1 for serial port. So we know that there are 2 architectures are there, Von Neumann and Harvard architecture. So this 8051 is based on Harvard architecture. That means in this both data and address memory has, that is separate. This 8051 having separate memory for both program and data. So the CPU will execute the program. So while executing the program, it may need some data. So here we need both data and program memory. So in 8051 we have 4 k bytes, 4 kilobytes RAM, and 128 bytes RAM is there. So the again this is comes under the hardware architecture. Next one is bus control. So we know if you take any processor or controller, there are two buses are there. One is for address bus and another one is data bus. Here 8-bit data bus is used. Similarly, the address bus lines are 16 bits wide. Here the RAM 4 kilobytes RAM is used. The address range is 000 hex, that is 40 hex to 0FFF hex. It is used to hold the address, and 128 bytes RAM is used to hold the data. So that is the purpose. Here we are using ROM and RAM. Suppose we want to interface the external memory to the 8051. So we need this bus control. So it will provide the data and address bus lines. And one more block here we left out is, that is serial port. Here the serial port, and before that we are going to discuss about the input output ports. So totally 4 ports are there: P0, P1, P2 and P3. So out of 4 ports, P0 and P2 and P2 are having address and data lines. In this 8051, out of 4 ports, all the ports are multiple functionality. That means here the port 0 is having AD0 to AD7. That means address and data. AD means address, A address, D represent data. So it holds both address and data. And port 2 is having only address lines, that is A8 to A15. And one more, the P3 is, as I said earlier, the P3 also having multiple functionality. That means it have totally 8 function is inbuilt with the port 3. So we can discuss what are all 8 functionality which is inbuilt with this port 3. This serial port, the serial port is also merged with this port 3. And one more control, that is timer 0 and timer 1 also merged with this port 3. And next one is serial port. Next block is serial port. So in this it is used for serial communication. That means it have serial transmission and serial reception. It is also merged with port 3. And also we have 2 timer 1 and timer 0. So this is the functionality of each and every components in 8051 microcontroller. So I hope it is clear to you. Still, if you any confusion is there, just post in comment box. So I will definitely try to sort out all your problems. So thank you very much for watching this video.